Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class. Our textbook is Week 2, and today inshallah we will cover Unit 3, My Day, Animals, Places, and the lesson is Phonics on page 25. This lesson will be presented by me, teacher Mazen Al-Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Fawaz Al-Agil. So let's begin. Quick revision in our last lesson. In our last lesson, we did learn 3 different sounds, and how we do learn these sounds by setting examples on 2 words of each of these sounds. And the first sound we had was the sound that starts with E, and the second sound also a sound that starts with EA, and the other sound also start with EA. But we said that these sounds here we have in these 2 sounds EA, the first one and the second one, we said that the first one has the longer version and the second one has the shorter one. So let's just remind ourselves on these 3 different sounds by listening to how we pronounce them, and then I would like you to practice them with me. So here we have the first sound that has the EE letters is sleep. Sleep. Say after me, sleep. And the second sound is read. 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 And the third one is head. 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 So as you can see, with the first one that has the EA letters, here we pronounce it a bit longer than the next one. So this one has the longer version where we said read. And the second one has the shorter version when we say head. Read, head. So same letters, but they are pronounced differently, as the first one is longer than the other one. Now let's try to fill in the other words we can see here below, just to know how we pronounce them. So here the first one is, the first word from the first sound is sleep, and the second word will have the same sound. Can you guess what we should write here? We should write the same sound as well. So we have sleep and sheep. Sleep, sheep. Now let's read or listen to the second sound. So the second sound is read. And the other word or the word below must have the same sound. Read, meet. Read, meet. And also with the last one as well, here we must have the same sound. So the first one is head, the next one is bread. Head, bread. Head and bread. So 3 different sounds, with some of them has the same letters. What is important here is that we memorize the words of each of these sounds, so we can know the differences when we use these words. So listen to me for the last time on how we pronounce these words, and I would like you to say them after me. So the first one is sleep, sheep. Sleep, sheep. The second sound, read, meet. Read, meet. And the third sound, head, bread. Head, bread. Very good. So the other exercise we had is on how to know the differences between there is and there are. And here we can say we can learn the differences by practicing these 2 examples. So if you remember on your book, you had the different pictures of a group of family members, and also a small family. So let's listen to how we're describing them so we can know the differences between there is and there are. So in the first one here, look at this picture. There is a man, a woman, a child. It's a small family. So here with the first one, or when we talk about the first picture, we use there is because we're talking about only one person. We said that there is a man, only one man. There is a woman, only one woman. There is a child, only one child. So when we're talking about only one person or one thing, here we say there is. But what about if we have more than one? What should we say? Let's listen to the second picture we have. In this picture, there are 3 men, 3 women, and 5 children. So, if we have more than one, in this case, we should use there are. Here we should use there are. So in the second picture, as you can see in your books, you have 3 men, 3 women, and 5 children. So for one person, we said there is. But if we have more, we would say there are. And this is the difference between there is and there are. Also, what we learned is the differences between that and those. We said that if we're talking about, or if we are pointing at one thing, in this case, we would say, or we would use that. If we're talking about one thing, what's that? But if we're talking about more than one thing, a group of things, or a plural, in this case, we would use, or we would say, what are those? So for example, have a look at these 2 pictures, and let's listen to the first question. The first question we have here is, what's that? What's that? And why we use what's that? Because we are pointing about only one thing. We are pointing at one thing. What's that? I'm talking about only one thing. And if we are talking about one thing, the answer must start with it's. It's a tooth. It's a tooth. This is we asking about one thing. But what about if I am asking about more than one thing? Here in this case, I should start my question with, what are those? What are those? So, if I am talking about one thing, I would use, what's that? One thing. But if I am asking about more, I would say, what are those? What are those? As I am pointing here at not only one thing, but more than one thing. What are those? What do we call those? They are teeth. They are teeth. So this is the difference between what's that and what are those. And after this, we said that to practice the differences between that or those, let's do the following exercise. And this exercise, which we need to do to ask and answer in pairs, and also it's important that we use that or those. So try you and one of your classmates or maybe one of your family members to gather around to answer this question. So in this question, you need to make a question and answer about each picture. So let's start with the first one. So the first picture here, we have only one foot. Here we have 1 foot. So what we need to do, we're going to ask. And since we're talking about only 1 foot, what we should use in question? Should we say, what's that? Or what are those? With 1 foot, we should say, what's that? What's that? Because it is one thing. And the answer will be, it's a foot. It's a foot. But what about the second one? What is the question we use here with the second one? Here we should use those. We should ask and say, what are those? What are those? And the answer will be like, they are feet. They are feet. So here I'm talking about 1 foot. This is why I say, what's that? And here I'm asking about 2, and I said, what are those? The same goes here with the third picture. Here, because I have only 1 mouse, I would say, what is that? What is that? And the other picture, I have 2, and then I would say, what are those? What are those? So this is the difference between that and those, and it is very important that you can practice these differences with a partner. Now, let's get to know our objective in today's lesson. At the end of this lesson, we hope that you will be able to talk about places in towns and things in the house using there is and there are. And to do this, let's open your books on page 25. Open your books on page 25. Now on page 25, you can see a map of a town. You can see a map of a town. Next to it is this text. And what we're going to do here, I would like you to listen and find the place according to this text and write it here in these blanks. So I would like you to listen to me and look at the picture or a map that you have on your book. And after this, we can fill in the blanks according to this text. So now, as you can see, you already have on the map, number 2 is a bookstore, and you can see number 4 as a supermarket. So let's listen to it now, so we can use or we can write down number 1, 3, and 5. Let's listen. There is a restaurant on the corner next to the bookstore. There is a train station opposite the supermarket. There is a gym between the supermarket and the bus station. There is a post office between the museum and the school. There is a park near the supermarket. Very well. So now here we did listen to this text and got to know what are the places we have. We said we have restaurant, we have also a train station, we have a gym, and also we have bus station, a post office, museum, school, and park. So all we have to do is just to write them and put them in the right order. And to do this, let's start with number 1. The first place is next to the bookstore. Next to number 2, the bookstore. So what do you think this place is? It is, of course, a restaurant. A restaurant. You can see on the map about the town on your book, you can see that there is a restaurant next to the bookstore. So what about the other place? The other place we have, let's continue from this sentence. There is a train station opposite the supermarket. Opposite. So we said that there is a train station opposite of the supermarket. So the third place here we can say is a train station. A train station. Let's continue reading and find out what is the other place. So there is a gym between the supermarket and the bus station. So here with number 5 we can say that we have a gym because it says here that there is a gym between the supermarket and the bus station. Number 4 is a supermarket and number 6 is a bus station. And between them is a gym. Between them is a gym. Let's continue reading to answer number 8 and 9. So there is a post office between the museum and the school. So number 7 is a museum and number 9 is a school. And what do you think between them? Well, it says here that there is a post office. So here in this case, we can write and say that number 8 is a post office. Number 8. Now this will leave us with the last thing. The last thing is there is a park near the supermarket. And so the last place we're going to write a park, which is near the supermarket. So here you go. This is how we can fill in and write down or write the names of these places according to the map and according to the text we have read. And if just to remind ourselves of the words we use or the preposition we used in this text, we use next to, also we used opposite, a place opposite of another place, also between, in the middle of two places, and also near, which is a place that is close to the other place. So also we do have a picture, as you can see on your book, and here we need to read these sentences and try to write down. If the description is right, we're going to circle T. If it's not, we're going to circle F. So let's listen to the first one. So have a look at the picture in front of you and tell me, there is a table between the sofa and armchair. If there is, we should circle T. If there is not, we should circle F. So what do you think? Of course there is. So here we need to circle T. Here we need to circle T. Number 2, there is a rug behind the bed. So you can see a rug and you can see a bed. Can you tell that this rug is behind the bed or next to it? It is next to it, it's not behind. So here we say that this sentence is false. And number 3, there is a table opposite the fridge and the stove. So you can see a stove, next to it a fridge, and opposite of them a table. Can you see this? If you can, and you will, then here we need to circle T, which is true. Which is true. So this is how we talk about things in our house, and you can even practice it and make your own sentences. So at the end, it is important that you can talk about places and things in your house using there is and there are. So now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.